Hello everybody, I'm John, this is JP Strategic Investments, and today we're going to talk about Patriot One Technology and their MSG solution being fully certified for 4 national standards. Now, this news seemed to move the stock pretty significantly. I think at least the US version of the stock was up almost 13% at one point during the day. I think it closed somewhere just under there. And so I want to take a look at this announcement, kind of give my thoughts on what I think it means for the company and for the stock going forward. So let's just jump right into it here, and let me make this a little bigger on the screen so you guys can see. So right here, the first thing that I want to touch on here, these are the certifications. And I'm not going to go through and try and say all of those numbers and letters, but basically it's 3 certifications from the National Institute of Justice, or the NIJ, which is kind of under the umbrella of the DOJ, or Department of Justice. For those of you that aren't in the US, the DOJ, or Department of Justice, is kind of one of the major, larger umbrellas or federal administrations under the US government. Covers most things related to criminal activity, things like that. And then the last certification there was from the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration, basically the US federal agency that kind of governs anything related to airports, airlines, things like that. So those are the certifications, and the nice thing is Patriot One linked these in the press release, so if you want to go check them out, you can go check them out. I checked them out, just briefly kind of look through some of the major points, and there were some similarities in there in regards to this next point from the press release that I want to touch on, which is this quote here from Peter Evans, where he says, "Many professional sports leagues and other organizations have built their security requirements and best practices standards on the foundation of these certifications." So, some of you guys may remember that back in the last webinar, Peter Evans was talking about some delays they were experiencing with getting DHS Safety Act certified. Seemed like mainly delays in regards to the actual process. Everybody knows the government moves slow. What didn't seem like it was really in relation to whether or not their technology actually met the standards, but more so just kind of the bureaucratic process there. That being said, he did mention that instead of just kind of waiting for that certification, what they were doing is getting other certifications that kind of mirrored or had similar standards that the DHS Safety Act had, so that they could go to potential customers like sports arenas and other customers that were really focused on that DHS certification, and be able to move forward with them by saying, hey, we don't have this certification yet from the DHS, but we have these other certifications, and they're basically the same standards, so we're probably going to get that, so we can still move forward with maybe pilots and testing and things like that, and they're not just at a standstill while they wait for that certification. And I think that's really what this is. And he goes on actually to mention almost just that with this next line from the quote, saying, having certification from SVS, which is the organization that actually completed the certification for them, or did the testing for them, validates the efficacy of our solution. And he goes on actually to say, while others in the market are self-certifying, kind of taking a jab at the competition there. But I think what he's really trying to drive home here is that this is a third-party organization, somebody else outside of Patriot One, who seems like a respected third-party organization, that is using US federal government standards to validate Patriot One's products. So really trying to drive home the fact that they're meeting basically all of the standards of any of these certifications that they're looking for, and most likely they're on the fast track, hopefully, of getting that DHS certification. The next thing that I want to touch on here is some of the comments of Patriot One and of SVS, the certifier here. So this quote here is the first one I want to touch on, and there's a few things here that I think are really good. So it says here that the technology successfully alerted on all prohibited items, including guns, knives, improvised explosive devices, ignition systems, and many additional items on the Pro Sports League's prohibited items list that are not itemized by the standards. All alerted items accurately displayed where on the patron the prohibited item was located, and the platform was successful in discerning between weapons and innocuous objects such as cell phones preventing false positive alerts that may occur in the screening process. And what I really want to focus on here is the word all, right? All prohibited items and all alerted items were accurately displayed. That implies like a 100% accuracy in these tests, which would be really impressive for Patriot One, because even before they had talked about, a certain amount kind of either getting through depending on where the settings was, and if the settings were really high as far as the sensitivity, then some of the, you'd get some false positives. But it seems like, at least for these tests, they pretty much passed with flying colors. And even more evidence of that is SVC, again, the company or the organization that did perform the actual testing, said, "We were impressed by Patriot One's ability to consistently and successfully detect and identify the location of all prohibited items on the patrons." So this seems like it was a really successful test for Patriot One. Seems like they passed with flying colors. The rest of kind of the press release here is mainly just, saying how their technology is better than metal detectors and things like that. But basically the main things that I want to touch on here, seems like this test went, or these tests, it was 2 tests, went really well for Patriot One. And it seems like these tests are the ones that are going to give them the ability to continue to move forward with customers that are focused on that DHS Safety Act certification, even though they still don't yet actually have that certification. So in my opinion, really good for Patriot One, and it looks like the market agrees. And hopefully we'll get some similar results from the NCS4 certification, or test results that we should be seeing hopefully this week, maybe next week. It seems like we're having some delays from NCS4. They got a lot of work that they're doing. So hopefully we'll get some kind of similar results from that, and the stock likes it even more. But anyway, let me know what you think of this announcement, my analysis, in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and have a great day.